I cheated on my husband. It saved my life.
Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started.
I cheated on my husband. It saved my life. I hope this is the right place to post this. I first wrote this as a comment or Reddit Ask Women, and the positive response was overwhelming. Many said that they needed to hear this. So hang on, this is going to be a very long ride. I had an extramarital affair. Never did think I would do something like this. Please don't judge me until you've read my story. My husband was emotionally, mentally, and sometimes physically abusive and very controlling. He isn't just a narcissist, he has the full blown mental illness and is a textbook psychopath and a sadist. He controlled all of our finances, and I could not access my own money. Fuck, I never knew how much was in my bank account. That's what kept me from leaving him. I was terrified of him. He collected guns and was always armed in the house. If I came home early, I was afraid he would shoot me. He and my grandmother, yes, you read that correctly. She also raised me and is also a narcissist control freak. She punished me for leaving him, had me convinced that I could not make it and live on my own. I have several mental illnesses and he made them worse. It was severe enough that I ended up in a mental health facility for 2 weeks. My ex was an emergency room nurse and he did not believe in mental illness. I was so worn down that I started planning my suicide. I had a plan and a timeline. The only thing holding me from doing it was that I couldn't decide on if I was going to leave a note. Then I met a guy at work. He was silly, made me laugh. We had fun together. We talked for hours. My ex never spent time with me or made the time together miserable. I was so lonely. But this guy made me so happy. Then I slept with him and it was amazing. My ex was horrible in bed. I never understood that a person needs physical contact, and I was starved for it. Also, I did not know that interaction with people was a basic need. I was raised to believe that it was a personality defect. When I expressed this to my grandmother, she got bitchy with me and said, "You've always been alone. You should be used to it by now." A note before I continue. I was severely abused, neglected, and manipulated for my entire life. I could write a fucking book. Another story for another day. At that point in my life, everyone had abandoned me. So I figured this guy would eventually leave me, since I was going to kill myself. I figured I had nothing to lose. When it ended, I would do it. The universe moves in mysterious ways. The relationship kept improving. I was getting happier, the most happiness I had ever felt. And I was becoming mentally and emotionally stronger. I couldn't understand how something that brought me so much joy could be wrong. I told my piece of shit ex to fuck out of my life. At this point, I was strong enough that even if this relationship ended, I could make it on my own. Guess what? That guy, we've been together for 8 years and we still love each other so much. One of these days, we will get around to getting married. To those of you who have stayed with me, thank you. I have done a lot of research into narcissistic abuse and emotional abuse. I have a ton of stories. Some of them are even funny. If anyone is interested, I will happily write and answer questions.